Hey there, folks. Solving equations. Here's a review of what we learned in class, okay? I'm just going to do three equations, each with a little variation, okay? So, first one says 5x minus 4 equals 8. We learned the best way to do this, the technique that'll work no matter how hard the numbers get, is to just peel off these numbers until you just have x equals something. And then you have the answer, right? What number could you put in for x to make this true? Well, whatever number you have over here. So it's good to whittle things down until you get to x equals something. So how do we do that here? Well, I got a minus 4 right here, so I'm going to peel that number off first. And the way I do that is I add 4 to both sides. Plus 4 here, plus 4 here. I draw my old style equal sign. Then I have three terms over here. 5x minus 4 plus 4. Guess what that makes? These 4's undo each other. They're just 0. So all that's left is 5x. Bam. And 8 plus 4 is 12. And here's the nice thing. It's like that bag of potatoes. If I have an equal sign up here, that means the same number of potatoes in each of these. And if I add the same number, then they're still going to be equal. Great. Well, now I have 5 times x. So how do you undo a times 5? We learned that you just divide by 5. And if you divide this side by 5, then to keep the same number of potatoes, you need to divide this side by 5. And that way I can put the equal sign there, because I've done the same thing to both sides. The beautiful thing is 5 divided by 5 is just 1. So you have 1 times an x. Well, here, I'll actually write it like that, and then that equals 12/5. But what is 1 times x? Isn't it just x? Because 1 times anything doesn't change it. So you have x equals 12/5. Now, if you want to leave it like that, I'm fine with that. If you want to make it be a decimal, I'm fine with that too. I think this one is going to be 2.4 if you do it as a decimal. Whatever. Then circle your answer. Okay, either one of those answers is great. Okay, let's try another one with a slight variation. Here, we have the variables over on this side, but I don't care. I don't care where the bags of potatoes are. I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to whittle this side down until it just has an x. So my first move here is, I don't know if you guys can remember this from class, but I get rid of the plus minus stuff before I touch any of the multiplying stuff. Like here you can see the 7 is getting multiplied. We'll see that you can sometimes have the x getting divided by. Don't do that stuff first. Do anything that's getting added or subtracted first. First move then, take away 2 from both sides. Bam, bam. 7, well here, let me do this side first. 3 minus 2 is just 1. And then 7x plus 2 and then minus 2. Plus 2 and minus 2 just makes 0. So guess what's left over here? You have 7x plus 0 or just 7x. Great. And then the last thing I do here is I got to get rid of the times 7. So how do you undo a multiply by 7? You divide by 7. And if I divide this side by 7, then to keep being able to do that equals, I better do the same thing to this bag of potatoes, right? So 1 divided by 7. The lovely thing is that 7 divided by 7 is just 1. 1 times x is just x, right? So over here, this boils down to just an old x equals 1/7. If you want to keep it like that, do it. You're good. What number could you put in for x that makes this true? 1/7, right? You want to do a decimal? Instead, do 1 divided by 7 and get whatever that is? Great. I will say it's usually polite to have your final answer have the x be over on the left-hand side, so you can say x equals a number. So I'm going to just rewrite it like this. If you don't do that, I'm not going to mark it wrong. It's just kind of like polite manners in math, all right? Last one. This is the one that a lot of kids sort of messed up on the homework, okay? So, I can see why. So just pay attention, okay? Over here, can you tell? I'm going to get rid of the 5 first, and some of you might be able to tell that that was your first move. Then great, you're developing instincts. this is a positive 5, right? Don't look at the fact that there's a minus sign after it. This is a positive 5. So how do you get rid of a positive 5? Take away 5. Minus 5 over here, and then to keep the equals going, I better take away 5 from that side. Old style equal sign. Yeah, so if you have 5 minus 4x and then minus a 5, can you tell that all that's left here is the negative 4x? Do you see that the negative 4x is here? That's where a lot of kids mess up, because they'll just write 4x. They'll just write a positive 4x. But look at it's actually a minus 4x. So these 5's go to 0. 5 minus 5 is 0. And if you have 0 minus 4x, it's a negative 4x here. That's where the mess-ups happen. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. Divide both sides by a negative 4, right? Because we want the negative 4 we want to get rid of it. So the way to do that is to divide by it. Negative 4 divided by negative 4, 1. 1 times x is just x. And I can clean this up a little bit. Do you know what a negative divided by a negative? This is just a positive. So this is 3/4. And this one I actually know is a decimal. If you want to write it as a decimal, it would just be 0.75. Circle your answer. Okay? Hopefully that helps.